The 20-mule team was the star attraction as it made a rare appearance in November's annual 49er parade in Furnace Creek. But right behind was another horse-drawn celebration of the Old West, the Corral 14 Death Valley Wagon Train. Their story up next.
We'll see you guys at the top.
Okay.
It's the end of a 10-day, 100-mile trek across the Mojave Desert. Corral 14 Wagon Train. Lots of cameras were out along the roadside as 11 wagons and horseback outriders trotted into Furnace Creek. The parade marks the end of this annual adventure that's been taking place every November since 1967, recalling the first wagon train that came through Death Valley during the 1849 gold rush. Just imagine coming through here in 1849 with a wagon train. Women and children, maybe a few people aren't feeling very well. Not a blade of grass on the ground for your horses to eat. It's no wonder they called it Death Valley. Lost as they searched for a winter route around the southern end of the Sierra, the pioneers found themselves trapped in Death Valley for months. Two men went for help, walking hundreds of miles to Los Angeles. And when the wagon train finally did escape, a woman looked back and said, "Goodbye, Valley of Death," and the name stuck, despite the objections of the indigenous Shoshone Indians.
The Timisha Shoshone have always lived here, and they do not call this place Death Valley. To them, that's sacrilegious. This is a place of life, a very spiritual place for them, and they still live here.
But no matter what tribe you're from, experiencing the rugged life of the wagon train does make you appreciate your hardy ancestors.
We're doing this with support trucks and everything. The pioneers did this with wagons, like 2 or 3 of them at a time, or the Mormons did it in hand carts. It just blows me away. You don't realize until you get out here and start doing it how much work it is.
On the last night in camp, after 10 days on the trail, this is a band of weary travelers, but ones who have clearly enjoyed the journey.
We're all sad to see it end.
Yes, yeah.
Yep. It kind of goes by too quick.
It's a beautiful scene that last night in camp. If you can edit out those modern-day support vehicles, the circle of wagons in pristine Death Valley looks like a scene out of the 1800s. Chores are the same as they were back then. Horses and mules are fed and watered. The campfire goes up as the sun goes down, and cooks prepare the evening meal. Later, this tight-knit band will gather for music, conversation, and laughter around the fire, trading stories about the day's adventures of rolling through the West in a covered wagon.
What I enjoy the most is looking at the scenery at such a slow pace, being able to see the flowers and the rocks.
I heard it was wonderful, and I always wanted to do it for years. So I did it, and I love it. The people are wonderful. The trip is beautiful.
Well, like I always tell people, life looks a whole lot different at 4 miles an hour.
Yeah. Next morning, camp is stirring as dawn is breaking. Time again to feed the horses, who are eagerly awaiting their breakfast,
There you go.
which Wagon Master Sue Martzloff is happy to serve.
I love watching them eat.
Love is a word you hear often among this crowd.
I love being out here and waking up with my horses. The other night, I put my cot right in between the two and slept in between the two of them all night.
She likes having her ears scratched, huh?
That's your favorite thing.
These horses and mules are part of the family and treated with much affection.
That's a way to make friends with a mule.
Yeah, scratch their ears?
Yeah. They almost all like that.
It's a special breed that wants to wagon train across the desert, and while they savor the adventure, the horses, the scenery, and all the rest, it's clear they genuinely enjoy the people they share it with.
This is a great bunch of people. They're helpful, they're friendly, and very humorous. We have a lot of fun.
The wagon train is put on with the cooperation and permission of the National Park Service, and one of the big rules is leave no trace. Take only photographs, leave only footprints. Every bit of horse poop and other debris is raked up and disposed of. It's a lot of work, on top of all the other work it takes to do this. But this group has an excellent track record with the Park Service and plans to keep it that way.
We want to leave our camp so that it looks like we were never here.
On this last day of the trip, everyone gets out their pioneer outfits for the parade into Furnace Creek.
1, 2, 3, smile.
There's time for a quick cast photo of the hardy band who made the journey, and then it's time to finish hitching up the teams. Alongside the wagons ride a handful of horseback outriders, ready to carry a message, head off traffic, or just lend a helping hand.
I love it. It's just so nice to come out of here with the horses and the camping and the camaraderie with everybody, and it makes you feel like you're back in the 1800s.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I get to ride my horse, see beautiful country, meet very nice people, and get to sleep outside under the stars.
Everybody ready?
Finally, the wagons are ready to roll. And the wagon train is underway. The Corral 14 wagon train is a true living piece of American history.
It was a great adventure. It is a great adventure.
And this group is already looking forward to reliving the Old West once again next year.
It'll be good to have a shower in my own house, but I can hardly wait to do it again next year.
The wagon train only comes through Death Valley once a year, but the park is a fascinating place to visit anytime. It's desolate, beautiful, historic, and a great place to take a horseback ride. Heading out on the sunset ride. It's sunset at Furnace Creek Stables, where anyone can experience Death Valley from the back of a horse.
It's really pretty out here right now.
Here on the desert floor during the winter months, the sun disappears early.
Some of these mountains are over 11,000 feet, and we're down here 190 feet below sea level.
And it's not long before we're in the shade of the towering Panamint Mountains. But any time of day, sitting in the saddle is a very cool way to see the park.
It's a way just to, you know, maybe not have to look down at your feet while you're hiking around and look up and see what the park has to offer.
Furnace Creek Stables offers a variety of riding opportunities for any ability level.
It's really good for first-time riders, anybody looking for a pretty relaxing experience.
Including private rides and the Moonlight Ride.
You can see your moon shadow, the horse's shadow, and you going along the side of the trail, and that's pretty cool to experience. So,
it's beautiful, peaceful, magical, even historical. After all, horses were once state-of-the-art transportation.
Now we think it's kind of a slow pace, but they were sure glad to have these animals to pack their gear or pack themselves. It's sure a luxury.
That's quite a sky.
Yes.
You can get a closer look at Death Valley's pioneer past at the ruins of the Harmony Borax Works, where Chinese immigrants once raked what was called white gold off the desert floor by hand. The 20 mule team era only lasted about 5 years. Trains replaced mules, and richer deposits of borax were found elsewhere. However, the Pacific Coast Borax Company realized its Death Valley holdings offered other riches, and they built a magnificent hotel to begin mining tourism.
4 different mountain ranges that are visible just from this deck.
Built in 1927, the Furnace Creek Inn is now known as the Inn at Death Valley. The property has recently undergone a multi-million-dollar renovation. It's a magnificent historic hotel in a setting like no other.
Just to be able to come out into the middle of the desert, so far away from comfort and luxury, and still have it right next to you, it's just the best of both worlds.
The inn lies in a natural oasis with an abundant water supply from 2 springs.
So this was previously called the Marquez Room.
It's fun to take the tour, and there are beautiful vistas of Death Valley in virtually every direction.
And the ones in the front face right out onto the Panamint deck, which is a great view west. It's charming. So it's because it's a historic hotel and it was built the way it was, a lot of the different room types, even though they're considered the same, they still have something unique and individual that guests like.
Upstairs, the lobby and the adjacent cocktail bar have been completely renovated, and dining on the marvelous cuisine served at the hotel restaurant is an experience you won't soon forget.
I feel happy to work here. I mean, every day I come outside and I see a beautiful view.
You might be tempted to just hang out and enjoy the beautiful hotel, but then you'd miss all there is to see in America's biggest national park outside Alaska. Many of the highlights are a short drive from the inn and its nearby sister property, the ranch at Death Valley, which hosts more affordable accommodations and is home to the world's lowest golf course, 190 feet below sea level, just a chip shot away from the riding stables.
And then about a half-hour drive south of here is the really dramatic site, Badwater, the lowest place in the United States, where there's white salt that has fractured into polygons that are really bizarre looking. You can go down and see that. And then up in the mountains above that is a high point you can drive to, Dante's View. It's about 5,000 feet in elevation, and that gives you the great overview of Death Valley. You can see the dramatic landscape that is here.
The view includes snow-capped Telescope Peak, with an elevation topping 11,000 feet. The driest and lowest place in North America, Death Valley is also the hottest place on Earth, with a record high temperature of 134 degrees set in 1913. And summer temperatures can often top 120 degrees.
But what's actually harder on the plants and animals here, and also on the people, is that overnight lows on the hottest days might be over 100. I remember one night we had an overnight low of 107.
But despite the heat, summer can be one of the park's busiest seasons.
Part of it is that Death Valley is the most extreme part of the American West. And if you're coming from another country to experience America and to experience the West, something different from Holland or Denmark or wherever you're from, what better time and what better place to go than Death Valley in the summer?
The cooler temperatures of fall and winter are certainly better for hiking, and there's an endless variety of places to explore. Zabriskie Point is perhaps the most accessible, right off the highway. Overlook area is a short walk from the parking lot, and the view speaks for itself. For the adventurous, hiking trails give you a closer look at the fascinating landscape. Another popular and relatively easy hike is the Natural Bridge Canyon Trail, about a 2-mile round trip.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's almost just surreal. It doesn't feel like it's a real place. I read somewhere that parts of Star Wars were filmed here in the park, and I didn't believe that there was a part of the world that was so different than everything else that could pass for another planet until we got here. And I could totally see that.
And you can hike just about anywhere here. People sometimes think that they're limited to just the few trails that they see on the map. Those are a good place to get started because they'll show you the easiest places to get to see something spectacular. But once you've seen Salt Creek and Harmony Borax Works and Golden Canyon, Natural Bridge, once you've seen those main front country areas, there's an entire park out there. That's what's kept me here for 14 years, is the exploration. Yeah, looking at any mountain going, I wonder what's up there.
It's the same spirit of adventure that brought the wagon trains, the prospectors, and the 20 mule teams to Death Valley, now preserved forever as a national park, and just waiting for you to come discover and enjoy.